So I've got my new tent. This time it's the Bobcat one from OEX. In my last video I tested out the Fox One version 2 and it became pretty clear that it wasn't going to be practical for a 5-day trip in the Highlands. So let's test this one out and see if it's going to be any more practical. Well, the tent's up, as you can see. It did take a little bit longer than the Fox to put up, but then it was the first time I'd done it. It'll probably get quicker. I had to clip the inside to it because, you know, it came separate. But I reckon the next time I do it, I can leave it all clipped in, so should be able to just pop it up. It's only a single pole, and it should be a much quicker job than it was this first time around when I next do it. So, yeah, I like it. It's really good so far. I'm going to unzip it now. Sit inside it, see how much room I have compared to the Fox. I think it's going to be a lot better, so let's do it. You can actually unzip the whole thing and fold it all up, and then there's a handy little pocket just in the side there just to tuck it all away, which is pretty good. So as you can see, it does have this overhanging porch area here. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually come out far enough to cover the ground sheet area here, which is a bit disappointing, because if you wanted to get in there after a day of getting wet, of wanting to change your clothes, etc., you would, if it was still raining obviously, want to be under some cover, and this doesn't quite come out far enough to cover this entirely, which is a bit of a shame, but it is a lot better than what I had in the Fox One version 2. So let's have a look. So I could get changed here, but again, you can see it doesn't quite come over my head, so probably going to have to point it away from the rain and hope that that is going to provide enough cover in that circumstance. It is nice though to have a separate section with a ground sheet that you can sit in away from the sleeping area. I mean, once I'm in there, there'd be plenty of room to drag my pack in and just leave it here. You could quite easily cook here with the sleeping area closed, still have this over your head. If it wasn't chucking it down with rain, this would be ideal. Right, let's have a look at the sleeping area. You've got the little kind of midge net there. You can open it both ways, but there is, for some reason, a little stopper there. So you can only... What's the point in having a zip that only goes that far? Who knows? There we go, that's the sleeping area. I've seen a lot of people saying that this part touches the actual outside of the tent, but for some reason on my first go I've managed to get it so it doesn't touch it at all, so that's really good. I've seen people doing all sorts of mods to try and prevent that from happening, because obviously you don't want to get condensation in there touching the inside part of the tent. So yeah, somehow I've lucked out and put it up in a way where that doesn't happen. It's a bit of a shame that this does kind of droop down into the tent. I think if you're laying down on your side, you're probably not going to notice it too badly. It would be nice if it was, you know, if there was another pole kind of holding it out, but there isn't, and it was a cheap tent, and to be honest, I'm quite impressed with it. I mean, I couldn't even sit up in the Fox One, and you know, my head was probably about a foot taller than it when I was sat next to it, so it was completely impractical. Whereas this one, I got plenty of headroom. Okay, this is touching my head a little bit when I'm sitting this far back, but as I said, that's the sleeping compartment. If I sit in the outer compartment there we go. Absolutely bags of room. This is a much better tent. One thing I will say though is it didn't come with enough pegs for some reason. I'm missing one for this corner of the ground sheet here. And when you have the door out, there's another couple of peg holes there that you could fit with a couple of pegs in when you have the door closed, obviously. I'm not quite sure why there's not enough pegs for all of the peg holes with this tent. I've seen other people talk about the same issue. So I think that I'm not missing any pegs, they're just, for some reason, aren't enough for all of the mooring points. But it don't really matter, I'm just going to have to go and buy another pack of pegs. To be fair, the pegs that come with the tent aren't the best, so it's probably a good idea to just fork out an extra tenner or so and go and get another pack of pegs, maybe some stronger ones. This tent is absolutely rock solid with all these guy lines out. It is, considering it's literally just one pole, I'm not kidding, this is proper solid. And if it was a windy day, I think this would do me just fine. I mean, what a tent for the money. when this thing's in its pack, it's no bigger than the Fox One version 2 was. So it's not going to take up any more room in my backpack. It might be marginally heavier, and to be honest though, if you take the poles out of the pack, it really squashes down quite small. So it's actually going to take up less room, I think, than the Fox did in my backpack. So all in all, this is a great compromise. It's not going to be, you know, a great deal more heavy. It's going to fit in the pack fine, and it's much more practical when it comes to sitting in, getting changed, cooking your food, and keeping all of your wet gear away from the sleeping area. So I think it's perfect, to be honest. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed watching me build the tent, give you a little tour around it, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.